Hey, bosses and CEOs. I'm Erica. I'm your favorite business and marketing strategist. I'm going to be going over today with you all 10 tips that will help you grow your business credit fast in 2023. And before we jump in, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you can get notifications to keep up when I have new releases. The first thing we're going to go over is going to be to freeze your personal credit. And when you freeze your personal credit, it's to avoid your business credit being personal guaranteed. And that'll help you with the vendors that you're working with to prevent them from seeing anything that is going to tie whatever may be on your personal credit to your business credit moving forward in the future or any possibility of it. And the second thing is going to be to call vendors and ask if they report to which bureaus. You'll do that just so you'll know which credit bureau is being built or which score is being built. There's three major bureaus when it comes down to the business credit, the same as it is with personal credit. The first one is going to be Duns and Bradstreet. You also have EXPERIAN business credit. And then you also have your EQUIFAX business credit. And each bureau has a score the same way that personal credit does. The Duns & Bradstreet has what is called a pay debt score, whereas with EXPERIAN, they have the EXPERIAN business credit score, and then EQUIFAX has the EQUIFAX business credit score. So each vendor will report to one of the three. You just want to make sure that you find out before you sign up with that vendor for an account. The next one the third one is going to be to use only your professional business email and your toll-free number. With your professional business email, I show you how to set that up if you don't already have one. It basically is going to show that you have credibility of being a legit business. In addition to that, you also want the toll-free number because over time, as you're growing your business, you want it to be seen as growing on a larger scale. Now, unless you choose willingly and freely to keep your business small, the businesses that are considered to be not small business is when you hit around like $3 million. So anything past that, my correction, sorry, 5 million. If you hit over 5 million, you're no longer considered to be a small business. And the only thing about it is when you are growing, you will want these things to be already established. And so you will treat it as such beforehand. Now, the fourth tip is going to be to use your corporate address that is going to be on your articles of incorporation as your mailing and billing address with the vendors that you're signing up with. The corporate address is going to be basically how you are, again, forwarding or putting a face to your business. And if you don't have your business to show that it's an actual business based off of location, it'll limit you from accessing a certain amount of funding. One of my coaches, she was actually explaining it's not about what you get, it's about how much you get. So you don't want to limit what you're able to have access to should you need funding for, whether it be for payroll, whether you need more inventory, whether you need to be able to expand or grow your team or anything of that nature. You don't want to limit yourself because you're not being perceived as a legitimate business. Again, that goes back to credibility with your professional business email and a toll-free number. So you want to make sure you have all of that readily available when you are communicating with these vendors. And the fifth tip is going to be to choose 3 vendors out of each tier. With business credit, there are 5 tiers total. And out of each tier, what you want to do is have 5, or you want to have 3 to 5 vendors per tier. And you want to keep all of these vendors over the time that you're building business credit. That will show you have a solid foundation, and it'll be a continuing reporting for you to continue to grow your business credit as well. And the 5th tip is going to be to use the 3 vendors for a minimum of 90 days before you move on to the next tier. Though I just said to keep all the 3 vendors over the time, you want to start with a minimum of 90 days before you go to the next tier. I do discuss all of this inside of my my freebie I'm going to give to you all at the end of this live, and it will be a link down in the description area as well for you to be able to access it whenever you have time. For the most part, over time, these vendors are going to basically show that you're moving from a space of, how do I explain this? You're moving from a space of discipline and not desperation when you're building business credit. And the reason being is because lenders will provide you more funding based off of what you already have established. Now, per tier, I do also want to share that there are certain credit scores. We'll get into that. But you do have to have certain scores before moving on to the next tier if you want to do it correctly as far as building your business credit. Now, tip 6 is going to be to pay a partial payment 15 days before the due date. And then you'll pay the remaining balance 3 days before the due date as well, to make sure that you're establishing good habits and to show, again, the vendors that you are, again, moving from discipline and knowing how to pay off your bills. They won't see it because, remember, you're not personal guaranteeing anything. So should you have this already as a habit with your personal credit, or if you may not, it will show the business vendors that you are capable of taking care of that, having the stability in addition to the discipline as well. And then the 7th step, these are the last 3 steps are going to be for your scores you're going to need before you move on to the next tiers. Like I said, the freebie, it does discuss this. I also have this inside of my, I have my e-guide, which is the business credit secrets e-guide. And I also have the BAWSE credit secrets trade lines and tiers list for you to be able to know exactly what to do if you're new to building business credit. And the first tip is, the 8th tip is going to be, you need a 80 to a 85 paydex score for your DUNS business credit bureau before you move on to the next tiers. And you also, for tip 9, you'll need a 76 to a 100 experience score before you move on to the next tiers. And the 10th tip is going to be, you'll need a 75 to 100 EQUIFAX score before you're able to access large funding as far as it goes, outright loans to be specific. So just a quick recap, and that way you'll know exactly what it is that you will need. The first one is to freeze your personal credit. After that, you'll want to call vendors and ask if they report and to which bureaus. You also want to use professional, only a professional business email when you're signing up with new vendors, and your toll-free phone number. You also want to use your corporate address that is on your articles of incorporation as your mailing and billing address with the vendors that you're signing up with. Then you'll want to choose 3 vendors for each tier. You'll also want to use the 3 vendors that you're choosing for a minimum of 90 days before moving on to each tier. And you want to continue to keep these vendors as well. You want to make a partial payment 15 days before the due date and pay the remaining balance 3 days before. That way you'll show your discipline and you have credibility as well, because they do not see your personal credit as personal guaranteeing. You're using your EIN number only. So the last 3 is you have to have a paydex score of 80 to 85 before you move on to the remaining tiers, and you want to have an experience score of 76 to 100 and the EQUIFAX score of 75 to 100. That's for the tiers following the first tier. If you got any value from what I shared, you can go ahead and leave a comment below, or simply comment FATE, and that way I'll know that you are understanding exactly what I'm sharing with you. So until next time, you all have an awesome and amazing day.